Are you going to change to the next? There we go. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to Saturdays with Tara. I'm Mary Beth at the Law of Attraction Club on the web at theloaclub.com. You have already been put in Q&A mode, so remember to press *6 if you have questions or comments on the conference line. If you are on the Hangout on air, this is our introduction to the theme of the week. All of this is also being simulcast on our conference line, and we'll continue on the conference line with more discussion and Q&A after the Hangout, and you're welcome to join us. Robin will be bringing through Tara for us this morning, so we welcome Tara and Robin, and over to you.
Okay, so you decide everything. So what part of you and what part of everything don't you understand? Let's explore this a little, because if you look beyond this simple absolute truth about you and the world that you're creating, you'll see that you've adopted many of the ideas perhaps as just the way things are. They seem to be permanent fixtures in your story when they're really just part of what you're making up. You invented them. Of course, there's nothing wrong or bad about any of them. It's just that choosing to see things from the perspective of who you really are makes it easier to step fully into that place of peace and power and fun and freedom. And taking that step is what it's all about. Let's look at some examples of what those fixtures could be. There's some obvious space-time worldly assumptions, like with age comes physical deterioration, and we spoke of that last week. Or because yesterday I set that train of events into motion, this is now going to happen. Or even tomorrow the sun will rise in the east as always. But there's also perhaps some non-physical fixtures, like there's a lag between choosing something new and when it manifests. Or somebody or something outside of me created me and has a purpose for my life. Let's take a look today at these last two as a way of understanding all of the choices you can make. Let's start with who you is. By you, we mean the conscious thinking you that's intersecting with us here on this call. Yes, of course, there are other aspects to you. There's a super consciousness that includes your higher self. It holds the blueprint for your world, the map of your previously chosen beliefs and expectations. And all of that is linked inseparably to everything else in the universe and back to all that is. But there's nothing in all of those other aspects that makes decisions for you or about you. Those are like resources you have available to you. By choice, you can expand that you consciousness at any time. But whatever its shape, that thinking you is always calling the shots and making the decisions. As you make a new decision, you experience a new version of you and a new version of your context. We have a context. It's nothing like yours, but like you, we and our realm are an inseparable oneness. Your context is everything you experience. The physicalness that's you and your world, and the non-physical aspects you have chosen to be a part of that experience. If you experience something, whatever that something is, you're making it up. So is there, for example, such a thing as manifestational lag? Here's some words from our friends Abraham. What you think and how you feel and what manifests is always a vibrational match. But here's the big kicker. What manifests isn't manifesting instantaneously. Manifestation is never right where the powerful leading edge energy is. Manifestation always lags behind. Like most humans, you're focused on what is. We playfully tell you you have what is itis because if it's chronic in your vibration, it holds you back from who you are. Without meaning to, as you move through time, your beliefs are usually not keeping up with your desires. In fact, for most humans, not even close. By law of attraction, you attract into your experience moment by moment, unique to you, wanted or unwanted, the sum of your beliefs and expectations. When you woke up this morning, the bed, the floor, the walls, time and gravity, and the whole shooting match were there, instantly, without focus, energy or attention, because and only because you knew they would be. You knew it at the superconscious level. It's a part of that blueprint. And although you probably didn't think about it at all on a conscious level, if you did, there would be no disagreement. Such is the absolute power of you being aligned with your superconscious. Manifestation is immediate. Of course, Abraham are not really saying there's some inbuilt fundamental mechanism in the law of attraction that sets a timer before each new desire can manifest. What they further say is that you have to line up with your new desire. That's what we're calling alignment. If there's a mismatch between you and your superconscious, it takes a little focus and perhaps a little time to bring that superconscious of yours to the party. It's that blueprint that creates. And we would add, it's a moment-by-moment, instantaneous creation. As soon as alignment occurs, you and your world change. Now, all that said, here's our kicker. If you choose to believe that there's a manifestational lag, then your world will conform to that. And there's nothing wrong with that choice. We just want you to see past the seeming absoluteness of statements like manifestation always lags behind, to the truth of the power that you really have. The only lag that can possibly exist is caused by the fact that you haven't chosen to truly expect what you desire. If you and your superconscious are at odds, it may take a little time before you can practice yourself into alignment. But that, like everything else, is a choice. So let's look at that other fixture some of you have. That somebody or something outside of you created you and has a purpose for your life, or is looking out for you and protecting you, or is arranging things in your world in line with some grand plan, often expressed as everything happens for a reason. We say there is nothing and nobody but you making all the decisions, all the decisions. Of relevance here are some words this week from our friend Mike Dooley, the universe. What's most important is that you're here. 1,000,000 times less important is what you do here, when, where, and with whom. Be here now. Figuring out why you're here is also not nearly as important as just honoring that it was a phenomenally good idea. Indeed. And we would go a little beyond that and say you are here because you chose to be in this focused space-time world for the joy of creating in this context. What you choose to create is now yours to decide. And now. And now. If you decide one thing today, There's nothing to prevent you choosing something else tomorrow. Everything is up to you. Once again, having said that, here's our kicker. If you choose to believe any of these things, your world will conform. If you choose, for example, to believe that there's a particular purpose for your life, and if you can just discover it, you will then be aligned with the grand plan, and life will be easier, more fulfilling, more joyful, more aligned with God, just plain better in every way. Then if you find that purpose that feels right, and you truly believe without reservation that this is your particular path, then it will be. And you will step into that better life you're seeking. If you choose to believe in a guardian angel, then that choice will create a guardian angel. And it will be as real as you are. Such is your power. Each chosen belief, you see, comes with its own life support system because you and your context will always match that belief. If for you, that chosen belief is a fun way to play your game of life on earth, then we say play on. Because once again, there's nothing wrong with that choice or any of the other choices you've made. It's just that sometimes we see you trapped by one or more of those fixtures of yours, and your life is nothing like the glorious adventure you came here to experience. Then we say, it's time to revisit those fixtures and change the ones that are now getting in the way. So that highly elaborate and detailed blueprint of your expectations is the key to everything. You created it by your choices. Mostly you've forgotten what those choices were, but here's the important part. None of it can remain a mystery if you decide to go exploring. Let's use a wild example. We know that you'd have this in the highly improbable category, and so it's not going to happen. But imagine this. You hear a snort and turn around to find a horse has just walked into your room. Now you immediately have a whole set of expectations that come into play. It's fun, or it's dangerous, or whatever. Now until we said imagine this, you weren't conscious of any of those expectations. But nonetheless you had them. And you can always know what any of them are simply by exploring. You may have to dig a little deep into your heart of hearts, but you created it all and you can revisit any of it and you can change any of it. You decide everything. So can you see who you is? And do you now understand what everything is? You can't change the essential nature of who you are and your connection to all that is. But everything else is up for grabs. It's all about deciding what you want and then focusing on bringing that superconscious of yours into alignment with it. Of course, there's a ton of processes that can help. But the journey will be easier if you will start with recognizing and acknowledging what sits beneath it all. Let's do a little expansion on that right now and see if we can step together into that place of peace and power and fun and freedom.
This hangout on air was to introduce our theme of the week. Our longer discussion continues right now on our conference line. You're welcome to join us. Bring your questions and comments.